Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the U.S. Supreme Court hears oral arguments on Arizona's voter registration law. ASU law professor Paul Bender will talk about the case. Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton will talk about pension reform and other issues as the mayor makes his monthly appearance on Arizona Horizon. And Diamondbacks team president Derek Hall joins us for a spring training update on the home team. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The U.S. Supreme Court today heard oral arguments on Arizona's law that requires proof of citizenship when using a state form for voter registration. The law was approved by voters in 2004 but was quickly challenged by those who say that the law goes beyond a federal voter registration form that requires only a signature to prove citizenship. Here to tell us more about the case is ASU law professor Paul Bender. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Is that pretty much what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it's a very technical case. You know, it is about the right to vote in some sense, but those aren't the issues before the court. In the mid-1990s, Congress passed the thing called the Motor Voter Act, which was meant to make it easy to vote, to register to vote, because less than half the people in the country who can vote are registered. And it says you can register by filling out a form, and basically you just say, I'm a citizen, I'm a resident, I'm of age, and then you sign that. And you sign it, and it says under penalty of perjury.
Right.
So it looks like that's what the federal government wants you to be able to register, just do that. The state, however, has a law that says they should deny registration unless proof of citizenship is presented to the registrar, and they give a whole different kinds of proof of citizenship that can be presented. So the question is, does that state law conflict with the federal law? And basically, did the federal law mean that you should be able to register by just swearing that you're a citizen under penalty of perjury? And then if the state thinks you're not a citizen, they could challenge you, but they'd have to prove you're not a citizen.
Yes.
Whereas the state's position is, in order to register, you have to prove that you are a citizen.
And the state's position is thus because, what, you need to keep fraud from occurring at the polling place?
That's what they say, yeah. But of course they can keep fraud from occurring at the polling place by challenging people who they think are not citizens. So it's really a question of who has the burden of proof. And it makes a big difference, because if you go into a vote and they say, I got this document or that document, you may get caught up in the bureaucracy even though you're eligible to vote and go away and be discouraged. If the federal form is enough, it's very easy to register, and then the state would have to pick out the people who they think are ineligible and challenge them, and they would have to bring the proof. The issue in the case is whether the applicant for registration has to bring the proof that he's a citizen, or whether it's enough for him simply to say, I'm a citizen, I swear to it, and then the burden would be on the state to show he's not a citizen.
So does that mean there's a little bit more than whether or not Arizona is overreaching its powers here, or is that's still the bottom line?
No, that's the issue. That's the issue. The state, under the Constitution, the state can regulate elections, and Congress can override them, but only with regard to federal elections. So this statute, the federal statute, only applies to federal elections, but normally it's the same registration for both. So the federal government has overridden the state with the Motor Voter Act, and the state says, yeah, but we can still require proof of citizenship. And the argument that the federal government is making, along with the challenges, are no. The Congress intended that the applicant should not be forced to bring documentation with him. And there's some interesting legislative history that Judge Kaczynski in the Ninth Circuit, who joined the majority holding it unconstitutional, pointed to, which Senator Simpson wanted to put in that statute, that you must prove your citizenship, and that passed the Senate. The House of Representatives took it out because it didn't want to do that. They had a conference committee and they discussed it, and they said, we're not going to put that back in. We don't want to make people prove their citizenship. If you pay attention to that legislative history, you would hold the state law preempted.
Okay, so we've got the backgrounds there.
Yeah.
Ninth Circuit says unconstitutional. Off we go to the Supreme Court. Heard oral arguments today. What did you hear?
It was, I didn't hear anything because I was in Arizona in the argument. But, you know, if you wait a week, you can hear the tape of the argument on the Supreme Court's website. But they do give you the transcript of the argument a couple of hours afterwards.
Yes.
So after I got home from class today, I read the transcript. It was a good argument. Everybody did a good job. There were a lot of really good advocates. I thought Tom Horne did a really good job. Patty Millett, who argued for the challengers, is somebody who was in the Solicitor General's office when I was there. Actually, I hired her. And she did a really good good job, and the Deputy Solicitor General did a really good job, and the issues came out. It was a really interesting argument. It's clear to me from the argument how 7 people on the court are going to vote. There's going to be 4 people, Breyer, Ginsburg, Sotomayor, and Kagan, who are going to say the state statute is preempted. There's going to be 3 people, Roberts, Alito, and Thomas, although he didn't say anything, who will say that this is not preempted. And so the question is, what are Scalia and Kennedy going to do? If either of them joins the liberals to say the state statute is preempted, it'll be preempted.
I think people would be surprised to suggest there's even a possibility that Scalia would join the liberals. What's going on here?
If Kennedy joins the liberals, I think Scalia will on a different ground. Scalia raised the ground that I hadn't thought of, which I thought was really important. He said to Tom Horne, hey, you got to use the federal form, because that's what it says, otherwise it doesn't mean anything. But if you think that the federal form is wrong and should have a requirement of proof of citizenship, you should raise that with the federal government. And Horne said, I did, we did. And we tried to get them to put that in there, but they turned us down. And Scalia said, well, did you appeal? And he said, no. And he said, why not? He said, well, I didn't do that. My predecessor did that. And Scalia said, why didn't he appeal? And Horne said, who knows? And so that was Scalia's point. If you think, and he agrees that the federal form should require proof of citizenship, but he says, he seemed to say the way to do that is not to not use the federal form, it's to sue to get the federal form changed.
Interesting.
You
and
know?
that would side him on the against Arizona.
For a different reason.
Right.
So I could see a opinion of 4 saying it's preempted because the federal form is right and the state has to use it. Scalia saying the federal form is wrong, but you still have to use it until you get it corrected. And the right solution is to go to court and get the Federal Election Commission to change the federal form.
Well, I don't want to get too far afield here, but you mentioned that Thomas was among those that you were pretty sure was going to vote one way. Yeah. Scalia, you're not so sure. Do those two vote differently very often?
Not a lot,
yeah.
But some.
But do you think Thomas might be swayed if Scalia goes another direction?
No.
No.
No, I would be surprised. The issue that Scalia raised is not one that Thomas is usually very interested in. To me, the key vote, as always, is Kennedy.
Yes.
If Kennedy goes with the conservatives and upholds the state statute, it's hard for me to imagine Scalia being the only conservative to join with the 4 liberals. He almost never does that. On the other hand, if Kennedy is willing to vote that the statute is bad, then I think Scalia would probably go along.
Kennedy have much to say today?
Not very much, no. His initial, he made a couple of comments. Initial comments seemed to say that he had a lot of trouble with the state's position, that what was the federal form for if you couldn't use it to register? But then later on he said something about, the state really has a problem here, so maybe we ought to defer to what they want to do. So as usual, you can't tell what he's going to do.
Is this one of those deals where it's going to be a relatively narrow decision? Could this be somewhat broad in ways we can't anticipate? What do you think?
Scalia's view would be very narrow because it would say just go back to the
Yes.
Federal Election Commission and try to get it changed. What Sotomayor and Kagan and Breyer and Ginsburg want to do is say the federal law is that you have to accept the federal form. And that's a fairly broad decision because that would mean every state has to accept the federal form. But they, I think, would leave open, they would have to leave open the possibility of, okay, you give me the form, you're the applicant, you've done everything you have to do. I don't think you're a citizen. Then I have to get proof that you're not a citizen and strike you from the rolls.
Right.
That's what it would mean if the state statute was struck down. So it wouldn't mean the states didn't have any way of protecting themselves. It would mean they'd have to prove it. Whereas what the state wants to do is say, you got to prove you're a citizen in order to register to vote. And the problem with that is that's a barrier that a lot of people are not going to spend the time and the money that's necessary to get that proof together, and they'll just be discouraged and go away.
Well, all right. Good to have you here to help us figure out what's going on. We appreciate it.
Nice to be here.
We want to hear from you. Submit your questions, comments, and concerns via email at arizonahorizon@asu.edu.
Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton joins us every month here on Arizona Horizon to talk about a variety of issues important to the city, and we welcome Mayor Stanton to the show. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be back.
Hey, Phoenix voters passed some pension reform. A couple of votes here. Talk to us about it. Your thoughts.
Well, I'm super excited about the vote. 80% of Phoenix citizens decided to support our pension reform. Pension reform that I think was fair both to, first and foremost, the taxpayers of this city as well as to the employees of this city. It will require that city employees, new city employees, because of certain constitutional limitations, we couldn't adopt it for existing employees. New city employees will have to pay a lot more in order to receive a pension. And we also increased the retirement age. We went to what's called a rule of 87. And again, I thought it was fair in that it saves the city about $600 million over 25 years, but also will still enable us to recruit and retain good employees. We took a balanced approach, and I think that's why the people of Phoenix supported us on a 4-to-1 basis.
And the changes include, what, 50-50 split instead of the city was what, 3-4 times what employees donated or put
Actually,
in?
a little more than that. Because of a cap in our charter of 5% of their salary, city employees only had to pay 5% of their salaries to the pension system, which means the city had to make up the difference over 20%. So it was over 4-to-1 ratio, and we're going to now even out that ratio, being much fairer, first and foremost to the people of the city and then also to the city employees themselves. So that means that city employees moving forward are going to have to pay a lot more into the system to receive a pension, which is the right thing. It's the right balance. And I'm excited that the voters supported our balanced approach by an overwhelming margin.
I want to get to the retirement age in a second, but you say it was a good thing and the right balance. Some thought that it was too much of a balance. Others thought it wasn't enough of a balance. Talk to us.
Well, I mean, as you know, the issue of pension and government pension is one of the hot issues. Many people think that we should be getting out of the pension business. One of our council members very publicly opposed our pension reform because they thought that we should be getting out of the pension business overall. Another council member thought that the rule of 87, having the highest retirement age of any government system in the state, was too hard on the employees. So you had criticism from the right, criticism from the left, and that's why I think we had probably the right balance in our approach.
What is that rule of 87?
Okay, so it's age plus years of service. So currently, it's the rule of 80. So if you're 50 years old with 30 years of service, you are eligible to retire. If you're 55 years old with 25 years of service, I'm doing the math in my head very quickly, that you hit 80, you're eligible to retire. That number will now be the rule of 87, effectively increasing our retirement age by 3 or 4 or 5 years. Again, our now new rule of 87 is the toughest standard in the entire state. Again, we thought that was fairest to the people who are paying this pension system, the voters of the city of Phoenix, and it was the right balanced approach.
And the other side was saying something along the lines of what a 401k system is better. Why would that not be the best, you think?
Well, there are a variety of reasons, but first and foremost, it would cost the city a lot of money. Believe it or not, if we were to go to a 401k type system, we'd have to still pay the pension for those in the system. We'd have to put away money for the new people in the system, and it would cost the city of Phoenix hundreds of millions of dollars. And so even our most conservative members decided to put the balanced approach on the ballot because they realized that the way the system is set up, going to that 401k would actually not be cost effective for our city.
Last question on this. Was there much opposition from unions?
No. The unions certainly weren't supporting it, but there wasn't a lot of active opposition from the unions. Look, there wasn't a lot of active opposition from anyone, which anytime you're dealing with pension reform, this has been such a hot issue around the country, you would expect that either people who are more conservative and say we ought to get out of the pension business would have come forward and opposed it, or those that think that we're kind of a solution in search of a problem and that we shouldn't be doing any pension reform changes at all would come out against it. I think the lack of opposition is because we did take a very balanced approach. That's the Phoenix way. We look at both sides. We try to find what's fair for everyone involved. That's exactly what we put on the ballot. And hey, I've been in this business a long time. You almost never get 80% of the people voting for anything. And so I think that was a strong affirmation that our approach was the right one.
The food tax, still an issue. A lot of folks still talking about it. A lot of folks still concerned about it. Do you still support ending this tax in April?
Well, as mayor, I want to get rid of that food tax as soon as we can. I've been consistent throughout time that, hey, we want to get rid of it, but if we can do it in a way that doesn't hurt our public safety, which I think is the values of this community, or hurt our credit rating. I know there was an issue about the political campaign a couple years ago. Of course, I and virtually everyone else thought that our economy would much further along right now. Here's what I did. As we're going through this budget cycle, back in January, I asked the city manager, as he moves forward with the proposed budget, give us a budget that includes the food tax, give us a budget that doesn't include the food tax, so we know we have them both side by side and we can see exactly what we would get with the food tax revenue source and what we will not get if we have to cut it, and then go through the very transparent public process. I think that's the most appropriate way of doing it. I want to get rid of that thing as soon as we possibly can, but I also want to do it in a way that reflects our community values.
There are some who are concerned that the no food tax proposal is going to be just the kind of draconian cuts that no one is going to want, or the cuts to police and fire that no one's going to support, these sorts of things. When these reports are presented, how will they be presented? What will you and what will council and residents see?
Absolutely. So the city manager always presents a proposed budget. Then we take that budget out on the road, and we're going to have over 20 budget hearings, including a live online budget hearing with myself and the city manager. I personally will be attending virtually every single one of these budget hearings because it's critically important that we get this decision right. But in addition to presenting a budget that he's proposing, I've also asked him, and he's going to fulfill this commitment, of presenting a budget that doesn't include the food tax and the recommended cuts that would be associated with it. Look, here's the situation that we're in right now. The budget is, the economy is getting better, but it's not doing as good as we would like. We are significantly down in terms of our revenue projections. Our contribution to the pension system is significantly increased. As you know, the pay agreement we came to with our city employees were based upon certain triggers. If for them to get the money that they gave up a few years ago, to get that back, certain triggers are going to be met. We're going to have to see from the city manager whether those triggers were met, whether our city employees are actually going to be able to receive back the money that they gave back to the city a few years ago. We've got some big decisions to make, and I want to hear from the public as much as possible before making this incredibly important decision.
And last point on this, you know why we bring this up, repeatedly bring this up, because you did campaign. You did say in your campaign that you got to get rid of this thing by April. Was it, in retrospect, was it wise to make that kind of a pledge?
Well, look, you make statements in a campaign based upon the best information. I think I took a balanced approach saying we should get rid of it by April 2013, but do it in a way that doesn't hurt public safety or the city's credit rating. I've got a long history in public service. I've always stood up for public safety. I have also always stood up for protecting the city's credit rating, and that's an incredibly important thing. It's a gift that I've been giving from strong fiscal managers before me, and as mayor, I want to make sure I hand that off to whoever the next mayor, of whoever he or she is after me, that I hand off a perfect AAA credit rating. You make the best decisions at the time, but now that I am mayor, my obligation is to make recommendations, make votes that I believe are in the best interest of the city as a whole. Politics is a tough business sometimes, and when you're campaigning, you try to make recommendations. I've tried to have my first year in office be exactly based on what I ran on. I think I've got a pretty good track record of doing so. But now I've got to let the city manager make this recommendation. Once I see what the cost would be, I'm going to make a recommendation based on what's in the best interest of the people of the city and for our future generations.
Mayor, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
Baseball's regular season is fast approaching. Opening day is set for April 1st at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix. And joining us now to talk about the upcoming season is D-backs president Derek Hall. Boy, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you. It's baseball season. We're here.
It is. What does a team president look for and do during spring training?
It's nonstop. You know, this is, people always ask me, what's the off season like? You know, it's our season without games. We're more busy in the off season than we are during the regular season. Our hours are longer during the season, but the off season and spring training, there's just so much excitement in the air. You know, we're watching the roster, obviously, focus there, but we're also getting our business plan still in place and preparing for the upcoming season promotionally.
It's, as far as attendance in spring training, I'm hearing overall it's a bit down. What are you seeing out there?
It was a bit down at first for everybody across the board because we started early due to World Baseball Classic, and so it was colder and people aren't used to going out to baseball in February. Now we're you know, hitting it out of the park again. I mean, sellout crowds.
What do you think of that World Baseball thing? Is that kind of putting it kind of messes things up, doesn't it?
It was a little bit of a distraction for us because we had all of our players, new players in, and they then got pulled off to other teams. So Prado was really fitting in well, and it was gelling there with the team. And then he goes off to Team Venezuela, along with Montero and Parra, some key pieces. But I think it's good. You know, if there's no baseball in the Olympics, I think World Baseball Classic, to have that global presence, that global competition, I think it's good for the game of baseball.
Are you seeing, as far as season tickets, spring training, as you said, down initially, back up? What are you seeing as far as season tickets?
About the same as last year. You know, I would like to see an uptick, obviously. I mean, we're at about 12,000 season ticket holders. For me, I think in this market we should be 15 to 20,000. I think as we win, and when we win, we will get there again. I think it's also a sign that the economy needs to turn. The economy's certainly getting a little better, and people and consumers are gaining a little more confidence in spending, so hopefully that will translate to our ballpark, because we're as affordable as it gets. We're the most affordable ticket in baseball for 6 or 7 straight years.
As far as demographics are concerned, let's stick to season ticket holders. What are you seeing? Is it an aging demographic? What do you see as far as
all
retention?
across the bowl, you know, which is really nice. I mean, we've got aging demographics. We have young executives. We have college students that are buying special packs now. Season ticket holders, I think, represent really every age group, every demographic.
And those special package tickets, it seems to be the way of the future, doesn't it? Because
they sell well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they certainly do. And, you know, we have a 4-pack, for example, right now that's, you know, any 4 games, $64. So you can hand select. You want this promo, this giveaway, the bobblehead, opening day. You know, we have a 6-pack, which are the best seats behind the dugout and behind in clubhouse behind home plate for $100. You can just sort of pick and choose what you want, and it's been a nice way to customize for fans.
And for the demographics, again, the target audience for that a little bit different than folks who can afford to spend 81 nights of their year?
I would think that's true. Yeah. Probably looking for someone that's not able to commit that much. We've got such great loyal season ticket holders, and a lot of them also share. So you find that as well. There are some that say, I can't go to 81 games or 83 with our 2 exhibition, but if they can find partners, and most of them do have partners, if they have 5, 6, 7 partners, they all get together, have a draft, which is a lot of fun for which games they're going to get. But we're very happy with the season ticket holders we have. They are so supportive of this club.
For fans of gas at Chase Field, any physical changes out there?
Yeah, you know what they'll see this year, Ted? The old Sliders building, the old restaurant out front on the main plaza.
Yes.
That's changing now, and it's going to be run and operated by ourselves and Budweiser and Levy, who's our restaurant partner, and it's going to be the Game 7 grill.
Okay.
And we've taken out the big pizza maker, and we replaced it with a huge smoker, and you're just going to have the smells of St. Louis barbecue out there on the plaza. We're trying to bring more life to the plaza this year, and that'll be one way to do it. But we've completely renovated it, somewhere between $1 and $2 million here this offseason. I think fans are going to be really excited about the menu options and the new look of that restaurant.
What about inside the ballpark? Is there going to be change between inning kind of contests and all that kind of business that goes on?
Yeah, all the same. I mean, it's worked. We survey our fans at the end of each season, and actually during the season, but we'll ask the casual fan, we'll ask season ticket holders, what do you like? We get great feedback on our in-game entertainment. I mean, the fan experience is what we're all about. Our game ops crew, game operations, I think, does as good a job as any team in sports. We have our rally backs, and we have Baxter and the entertainment. It's been very classy, wholesome, family-friendly. That's not going to change.
Something that did change big time was your broadcast team, and
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons, the last crew isn't there. I think most Diamondbacks fans understand what happened with Mark Grace. We're still not sure what happened to Darren Sutton, but they're both gone.
Yeah, well, Mark Grace is still around. He's in uniform.
And
Yeah.
talk to us about how important was it to keep him around, and how difficult a decision was that?
Well, and we did hear some criticism. I'd say much more praise, but we knew it was the right thing to do. He's done so much for the organization. He's an important part of the family. You know, one of those World Series heroes again, and he's always been great. Such a good personality that fans love, and he's had a successful career on the field. I've always thought his future is on the field as either a coach or manager. Now he's got the opportunity. So he's in uniform. He's out at spring training. He's enjoying it.
And you got Bob Brenly and Bert, as they're calling
Yeah.
him. Again, the decision to hire a play-by-play guy who had never done play-by-play.
Right. He's maybe done a handful of games. Well, we saw the sampling of 7 to 10 games that he did. Big games, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He had that New York Yankees Tampa Rays game at the end of that 11 season. That was the deciding factor of who was going to go to the playoffs. He did that game, did a great job. College World Series games. He's a great personality. You know, he's certainly got a cachet among baseball fans, his name, his face. And I thought if we're going to go that direction, we have to match him with somebody who's very polished and experienced. That's why Bob Brenly now coming in is really going to evenly balance that one out. But
Yeah.
Steve's going to be good.
Brenly is just
Brenly,
really
I think he's the
something.
best analyst in baseball.
I mean, he really, the way he just forecasts things
Oh.
that happen is unbelievable.
Prognosticator.
Justin Upton.
Yeah.
The team seemed like it couldn't wait to trade Justin. What was that all
I
about?
know, it sure seemed that way. I think it shows that a player of his ability certainly gets a lot of interest from other teams. And when teams would call our general manager and ask if they could have discussions on Justin Upton, and he would say yes, that gets out to the media immediately, and it looks like we're trying to push the guy. We were actually ready to start the season with him. Now, we did have a deal in place with Seattle that was going to be a good deal for us, I think, in the future. I'm glad we made the deal we did with Atlanta rather than that deal, because you've got pieces now, very good pieces, and in the future. But we were ready after that one was denied. We were just going to stick with our roster and have Justin come back, and I think he would have been fine. It would have been embracing, and we would have all been fine. But Justin's in a really good place now. He's getting to play with his brother. The best deals are those that work for both, and we hope Justin and are sure he's going to have a good career, and now he's over in a place where he's going to be a little more comfortable with his brother. And for us, we were able to turn the page and bring in a player who's been an MVP candidate, who's a constant 300 hitter, who's a great clubhouse presence. He is a pro. And the influence he's had so far on these other players is great.
Last question, and we only got about 10 seconds. How are you doing health-wise?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. I had my second straight non-detectable cancer blood test, so thank you.
And
so hopefully we're doing...
You've been very vocal about this,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think a lot of people appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So if everybody could get tested early. Early detection is the key, but I'm doing great, and I appreciate you asking.
All right. Well, it's good to see you
Good
again.
to see
Thanks
you,
for
Ted.
joining
Thanks.
us. And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.